So now we have it, CBN governor in Nigeria, Mr. Olayemi Kadoso, pointing out it was one of the questions asked. And of course, we do remember it's a year since he's been in office holding that position. So it was, looking back at where he's coming from, how things were when he came in, and gave a lot of explanation on that. But let's delve into this much more with Dr. Muda Yusuf, the CEO of Center for Private Enterprises Promotion. Dr. Muda Yusuf joins us virtually from Lagos. Dr. Yusuf, good morning.
Good morning, Ine.
Yes.
A pleasure to be with you.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a conversation with you where you're happy that there's been an interest rate hike. So I wonder how you're feeling now that it was so unexpected. I mean, one would have thought even if there was going to be a hike, it would at least be 25 basis points, a quarter of a percent, not half of a percent. But I mean, according to the CBN governor, a lot of considerations came into place. Top on the list is the cost of energy, which we see has skyrocketed in the last couple of weeks, less than a month now. So, I mean, what comes to mind, Dr. Yusuf, on this 50 basis points interest rate hike?
Well, from my own point of view, the latest hike by the central bank is very difficult to justify, particularly in the context in which both the citizens and businesses are operating right now. If there's anything we need in this economy from a policy perspective, I think it's policy measures that will bring relief to citizens and to businesses. Because things are already extremely very tight. I mean, you cannot have a more tighter monetary policy environment than what we already have. So if you have a situation where businesses in particular are struggling with depreciating currency, they are struggling with high energy costs, they are struggling with high costs of logistics, and already interest rates are already high. So even in this situation, we are now hiking interest rates, and it's still retaining the asymmetric corridor at plus 500 basis points. That means the MPR can go as far as 32.5%. Then we also have the CRR moving up to 50%. I don't think with the kind of environment in which we are, and with the performance of GDP in Q2, many of the sectors slowed. The critical sectors of the economy slowed in Q2. If you look at the GDP numbers, we have some contraction in some key sectors. Some major sectors are still in recession. So if the economy needs anything at this time, I think we should be looking more in the direction of stimulus, both from the monetary side and from the fiscal side, and even from trade policy side. There are also issues about the cost of clearing cargo at the ports. So we can't be, the burden is extremely too much.
But Dr.
So
Yusuf,
I don't think this is very justifiable intervention.
But Dr. Yusuf, it is you economists that say we cannot have growth in the face of high inflation. And so the central bank have decided to tackle inflation because, they looked at the issue of energy costs, which we know is going to feed into the next inflation number. Then they also looked at the issue of the flood, which we know affected food and is going to affect food supply. And so this means that most likely the next set of data we will get is going to show an increase in inflation. And they put this as a reason of consideration.
Now, how will the hike in interest rates now reduce the energy cost? How will the hike on interest rates now reduce the challenge or shortage of food supply that has been inflicted by flood? What is the connection? What is the impact? I don't quite agree with that. And the CBN also talked about excess liquidity. Where is the excess liquidity coming from? Is it coming from investors? Is it coming from entrepreneurs? When many businesses are already cash-strapped. He admitted that this liquidity is coming from the public sector. Can't we have a way of fixing it at the level of the public sector so that you don't cause the private sector, investors, entrepreneurs to be paying the price for a crime that they didn't commit? The entrepreneurs were not responsible for the excess liquidity. Now you tighten monetary policy, you increase the MPR, you increase the CRR at asymmetric corridor at 500 plus 500 basis points around the MPR. It is the investor that will pay the price for this. And this may not necessarily even achieve this objective. I think we should have allowed the fiscal policy measures at least to begin to get activated, and let's see how far we go with that. Already there are some measures that are being put in place. What we are waiting for is faster implementation of those fiscal policy measures. I think that will give us a lot more relief than further tightening of monetary policy. I don't think we can justify these latest steps that have been taken by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The economy doesn't need this kind of intervention at this time, particularly businesses.
All right, so Dr. Yusuf, in summary, how would you capture 1 year of Mr. Olayemi Kadoso as CBN governor? I know there's been reforms that have had, both positive and not so positive impacts. For instance, the gap between the parallel and the official market, we've seen that reduce. But in your words, how would you capture his 1 year? Even though I know that it's been more of hikes, but how would you describe it?
Well, it's a mixed bag, really. At least we have seen an improvement in transparency, improvement in corporate governance and all of that. We have seen some measure of stability. But again, I think the governor needs to define the boundaries of how far we should be pushing these market principles, this monetary approach to economic management. Because the structure of financial markets in Nigeria and in many developing countries is not the same thing as what you have in Europe or in America. So the model of intervention cannot be exactly the same. So I think we need to continuously recalibrate some of these monetary policy measures, including even the foreign exchange policy measures. We need to calibrate it, recalibrate it, review it in the light of the experience that we have. Because no two economies are the same. So the models cannot be the same. We have seen some improvement, but I mean, the CBN has been driving the economy almost to the extreme of monetary principles, of market principles, which I don't think this economy, I don't think is working well for the economy so far.
All right, Dr. Muda Yusuf, thank you so much for your views this morning. Chief Executive Officer of Center for Promotion of Private Enterprises. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now let's switch now and talk about pineapples. Have you ever given thought to the potentials in pineapples? Well, there seems to be an individual who has done that. We'll tell you about that after this video, which introduces us to that conversation.
Problem that has persisted for over 5 decades, which Davidola is solving right now: the importation of pineapple fruit and the importation of pineapple fruits concentrate. To solve this problem, Davidola is currently developing and managing one of the biggest pineapple farm estates in Africa. This gives every individual an opportunity to own a pineapple farmland with as low as 500,000 naira initial deposit, whilst earning 36% rent per annum. In few months from now, Davidola will unveil the biggest pineapple fruits concentrate factory in West Africa, and the factory will offer job opportunities to nothing less than 10,000 Nigerians, including direct and indirect labor. There is need to continue expanding our pineapple farm to increase our capacity in terms of production, and you can be a part of this revolution by becoming a pineapple landowner today. For more inquiries, please call
That's it, sir. We'll give you more information now with Ambassador Segun Alabi. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Davidola Nigeria Limited. He's also the founder of the farms. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Ambassador Alabi, good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
great. So, I mean, it just seems so far-fetched that you would think of pineapple. So I guess the first question would be, what interests you in pineapple?
Yeah, Davidola is an agri company that specializes in pineapple farming. And then the pineapple is a product or is a produce that is very scarce in Nigeria. And I tell you today that Nigeria still imports pineapple because the value chain in pineapple is enormous. And that is what Davidola is doing to add more value to Nigeria economy by producing pineapple to the extent that we'll be able to export pineapple. That is what we do.
So, and we see that you have the farm. What do you do on the farm? And I mean, the video we played just before is talking about how people can also participate. Could you tell us about that?
Okay, thank you so much. Davidola have a pineapple farm estate behind Olabisi Onabanjo University, Ago Iwoye, Ogun State. And we give individual and corporate organization an opportunity to own a pineapple farm with us. It's like, or you have an estate where you sell house or land to people. So what Davidola does is to sell a pineapple farm estate to individual and corporate organization so that you can become a pineapple farm owner with us. And with this, you get a return per annum, a rent per annum. And how does it work? For example, now, if you have 1 acres or 1 plot of pineapple farm estate, for pineapple farm in our estate. Currently, the cost of pineapple farm per plot is 2.5 million naira. So when you make those payments, we give you a portion, either 1 plot, 2 plot, 1 acre. You become owner with a registered document. What do I mean by registered document? You get your deed of assignment, you get your registered survey, just normal documents you will get when you own a house or a land, because this pineapple farm belongs to you forever. And then we help you manage it, because one of the vision of Davidola is to make Nigeria exporter of pineapple. Currently, Nigeria is the 8th largest producer of pineapple in the world. But even with all of these things, we still import pineapple. And when you look at the level of unemployment in Nigeria, one of the ways to solve this unemployment is through agriculture. And then what Davidola is working towards is to empower 50,000 Nigerians in pineapple farming. You know what that can be. You know what that can, the value it can add to our economy. Because today now, like I listened to you earlier on talking about inflation and the level of unemployment in Nigeria, agriculture is one of the major ways to actually reduce this unemployment. And this is what Davidola is doing, to use everything we have in pineapple farming. For example, now if you buy 1 acre now, you are empowered. You're not just buying a property. You are also empowering Nigerians to be free from unemployment. So what Davidola does is to manage all these resources to take Nigeria from level of where we are now to where we're supposed to be. Because Nigerian pineapple, especially the one from Davidola farm, is the sweet. I can say is the sweetest. When you taste our pineapple and you taste the one from other countries, you know that we produce better. So if you have all this capacity, all this knowledge, then we should use it to empower people. Why people who owns this pineapple farm are also making a profit on it. And we pay per annum, just like you are expecting your rent every end of the year or middle of the year, depending on when you have an agreement. For example, now today is 25th of September 2024. If you buy a property from us today, pineapple farm estate from us today, by this time next year, you get your rent. And if you look at the video that has been played, you will discover that there's a lot of things there. You will see different names. But I always tell people that David Dollar Farms is another Nigeria on its own, because in our farm you have people who are Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, Shekiri, diverse language. Because until we come together and then form a kind of partnership, we may not going forward, because you can't grow in isolation. So this is what David Dollar did. We give opportunity to individual, organization, NGO to be part of this move to empower 50,000 Nigeria. And how we can get this done is by you becoming one of the owners of the pineapple farm in David Dollar Pineapple Farm Estate. And today now, if you stay to the end of this program, we are going to give a promo. There's a promo awaiting everyone who is present right here today. Thank you.
All right, just before you get to that promo, could you help people understand how it works? So you pay annually, like people are paying rent. Do people know the percentage of their investment that they get? And you said it's forever. So, so even after this harvest, then you plant again and help the person manage, every season, or is that how it works?
All right, thank you so much. Now, if you buy a plot, today a plot is 2.5 million naira. Now, you get 36% of that per annum as your rent, because you are the owner, you are buying a property. You are not just, this is not a Ponzi scheme. You are buying a property that David Dollar is managing for you. So if you pay the 2.5 million naira, you get 36% every year. If you calculate 36% of 2.5 million, that's about 900,000 naira. Then we manage that farm for you for a period of 5 years. After 5 years, what happened? After 5 years, you have 3 options. The first option, you might say, okay, I want you guys to continue managing my property for me for another 5 years. In the event of that, your 36% now will not be calculated on the 2.5 anymore. It's going to be calculated on the value of that property as at that time. Let's assume that in the next 5 years now, the worth of that property is now 5 million naira. It means your 36% will now be calculated on the 5 million naira. And that's what you are going to be collecting for the next 5 years as your rent. The second option is, okay, after those 5 years, I want to sell my property. And in the event of this, David Dollar is the first refuser, which means David Dollar is the one that will even buy it from you, which means the property you are buying, you have a buyer that will buy it. And at the same time, you are going to sell at a prevailing market value at that 5 years. The last one is that you might say, okay, I have retired from my job and now I just want to take over my farm and be managing it by myself. If you also do that, David Dollar is also there for you. And one good thing about pineapple is because in the couple of months now, David Dollar will be unveiling the largest, one of the largest pineapple concentrates in the world, which be consuming 100 metric tons of pineapple per day. This is a whole lot. And the value chain in pineapple is enormous. From beginning to the end, the value chain is what you cannot even finish explaining. Thank you.
All right, so some people watching this would say, oh, it's another Nigerian story. We've heard of people being scammed and all of that. What assurance are you giving to people who may be interested in this, that actually their investment is safe for 5 years, or if they even want to do longer?
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, it is not. Yes, we have seen a lot of people who have used one way or the other to take money from people selling property, never do allocation, and then they will run away with people's money. David Dollar has been in this business now for over 8 years, And if you follow us on our Instagram, Davidola_farms, you will see a lot of track record. Every 5 or 3 months, we do allocation for people, which is a very good period to even access everything. Now, Davidola Farms, number one, we are insured. That is number one. Secondly, one of the reasons why people fail in agriculture is as a result of when cow eats your farm. Now, pineapple cow doesn't eat pineapple anytime, any day. Second, another point that gives you assurance is when you have a product that is very scarce in supply, then you have a market, because the Nigeria still imports pineapple, while we have a land that can thrive when it's come to pineapple farming. So in all indication, you are secure.
All right, we're almost out of time, but you did mention that you have a promo for those who may be interested. Please, if you could just share that briefly.
I didn't get that.
You did say earlier that you have a promo for those who would watch to the end. So we're almost out of time. If you could do it briefly and tell the people what promo you were talking about.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, for the first 200 people that we call this number, 08116464307 on WhatsApp. Let me say it again, 08116464307. Now, for the first 200 that we key into this opportunity, instead of you paying 2.5 million naira, we are giving you for 2 million naira per plot. 2 million naira per plot. And then for the documentation, because the 2.5 or 2 million naira you are paying, we are calculating your rent on the purchase price. Now, for the documentation is 300,000 naira, which covers for the legal agreement, deed of assignment, and registered survey. This one is different from the purchase price. So for these 200 people that we call the number, or make inquiry and say, oh, I'm interested, on our social media, Davidola_farm on the Instagram, or go to our website, www.davidolafarms. The first 200 people will be discounted for 2 million naira. And then next week now we are having another allocation, and then you can be part of this.
All right, Ambassador Segun Alabi, we wish you the best in your endeavor. Chief Executive Officer of Davidola Nigeria Limited, also founder of Davidola Farms. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
So that's it. We're out of time, actually. Thank you, Kayla, for being so kind. I want to believe that we hand over back now to the Sunrise Daily. Do remember, 1 p.m., Ladi Williams will be here with Aniti Edet to give you 55 minutes of good business. Bye-bye.